everyone. How are we all doing? Hope everyone's Monday's not too bad. A little bit better than mine. I was up at silly o'clock talking to Matty backstage last night, so I'm feeling a little bit groggy. But hopefully, someone who's feeling a little bit better than me is, of course, Shane, and he's to my right. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, good man. Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm a bit groggy myself, but yeah, I just couldn't sleep. I think it's the clocks change and always get me, man. I don't know what it is about that, but yeah, buzzing with this birthday thing, which I'm sure we'll get into, and for the first time in a while, a bit of daylight, something to look forward to. But yeah, all good. Looking forward to getting into it, man. Looking forward to getting into it.
Right. Yeah, no, mate, absolutely. Sorry, I've muted myself. So what we're going to start off with is obviously, you see a little Prawnstein's Bomba last night about Victor Gyökeres. Um, What do you reckon on that? Because I keep seeing everywhere now that we've obviously, and my opinion and stance on with the Gyökeres thing. Like, I'd just want to release the clause the second we get to June the 1st, and mess about. 85 million, of course, the clause is in sterling. What would you do? Because I keep seeing that he's available for about 50, 60 million. If 60 million is the case, and let's just say they'll negotiate around that point, which of course is about 20, 25 million less than the clause. Do you trust Arsenal? And this is what I want to ask for this Gyökeres thing. Do you trust Arsenal to actually get the deal done when they've got to negotiate for it? Because I think personally, for me, they'll take too much time in doing it, and maybe someone else will just come in and swoop and just pay the extra money, and we'll just be found left wanting again. What's your opinion on it, Shane, man?
I'm of the exact same opinion, mate. The only thing now is that hopefully Berta will be quicker. Um, I don't. I've seen it. We've seen it so often. If we were to get all the players that we dilly-dallied around, we'd have Carvalho and we'd have all these lads that we should have signed back in the day. But
Yeah,
I hope we get him. I hope we get him. I know. I'm nearly certain he's not an Arteta type player, which again why I want to get him. Um, I'm hoping that Berta's come in now and taken Arteta's list and gone, right, look, I'll consider it, but this is what I think. The only thing is when these Ornsteins and all are saying, oh, they've had they've developed an interest in him now that Berta's here and stuff like that. But Berta would have been looking at him at Atletico then, surely, wouldn't he? But I did say in a different, I'm not sure, maybe it was with yourself, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping that Berta, even before he finished his contract with Atletico, that he knew, which he would have known, it was coming to an end. And I'm hoping that Arsenal have been in contact with him a long time ago when the potential for this to happen. These things don't happen overnight. They take a long time. And we know that he is good at finding gems. He's done it with Cunha
yeah,
and Jota and all these lads. Jan Oblak was only 4 million, I think he paid for him. Like, you know what I mean? So we know he can do it. So I'm hoping that he knew his time was coming to an end and that he had a few gems in his back pocket and he kept them there. And he didn't give them to Atletico because he's thinking, right, I can impress him with a new job, go in, and I'll have these lads, 2 or 3 players. Because you mentioned before that with the money we have, we need to get 2 or 3 world-class players and 2 or 3
yeah,
gems because it's all we can afford. So I hope that he kept a couple of them in his back pocket. And I hope that he comes in and he does the Gyökeres thing, gets it done, lays down his marker early and says, I'm here now, and this is how we're going to fucking do it. I hope he does it mafia style. I hope he comes in and I'm in charge now. Sorry, Mikel, you had your go. You can do your press conferences and you can say, that we're all part of this decision, but we all know that he wasn't. That this is the board going, we need to get someone in now who knows what they're doing. You've had your chance, you blew it. You're on too much money, we can't sack you. So we're going to bring in someone to babysit you and hope that either you learn your lesson, preferably for them, they don't have to get rid of him, or we realise that it was even worse than we thought with you and you have to go. Because if
yeah,
I'm spending 750 million, about to become a billion, if we believe the rumours of a 300 million war chest, I think they're turning around to each other now and going, I'd say Josh is turning around to his dad going, he never had a job before. What would we thinking? What would we thinking giving this guy 750 million? We need to get someone in who knows what they're doing. So, yeah, I've been in that horrible purgatory place the last month or two where you love your club so much, but you hate the manager. It's an awful, awful place to
mhm,
be in. An awful place to be in because you love them too much to ever be so petty to go, oh, I hope they lose and he loses his job, because we can't do that. We're Arsenal, we're fans. It's impossible for one team to lose. But now that I'm seeing Berta come in, and now that I've seen the press release and stuff, which we'll get into,
Yeah.
There's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel for me now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's facts. And I think, look, that's all we sort of wanted because, 5 years ago when we look at this Arsenal thing and they brought Arteta in and they brought Edu in and they sort of scammed us all into absolutely thinking, that we're in this process. And that's what they use to sort of basically as a safety net to give them time. We're in phase 2, we're in phase 3, and so sort of forth. And it's sort of come to the end of it. And if we was going into this summer just with Arteta again, it's stale, isn't it? It's completely stagnated. This whole sort of process, whatever you want to call it, these phases, it's just got to the point now where it's so stale. And if I was going into this summer, I'd be sitting there and thinking, "Wow, man! If we have another summer like we did last summer, with the Calafiori signings and the Sterlings and the Mikel Marinos, if we was to have another one of them this summer, which in my mind, to be perfectly honest with you, I'd think would be more likely than having a belter of a summer, by the way. And why are we saying that? Because we've got 5 years of history now with this manager and these transfers. We've got about 11 windows to go off. He's not been here for a year or two. He's been here for 5.5 years. He's had about 10, 11 transfer windows, and he's given us all this spiel about maximising them, etc., etc. When was the last window we maximised, by the way? Look, the best window we've had in anywhere near the last time soon is the window just gone. Is because we didn't give him any money to sign anyone. That's literally been our best window in about 5 years.
Yeah.
It's madness for me, It's a little bit sort of worrying, and that's why when you sort of say about Berta coming, it gives you a little bit more of hope, that maybe this guy's going to come in and shake it up. And as you quite rightly say, he could be coming in there, and you could think, right, well, yeah, here you go. He'll land this Gyökeres sort of early doors in the window, bless in the background. Good doggy, yeah, love him. Yeah, yeah, do you know what I mean? No, yeah, he'd come in and just sort of shake things up, Like maybe if he could come in, get the Gyökeres over the line straight away and couple that with a winger, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there in July and thinking, wow, man, we've actually got 2 of our top targets in there. Now maybe sprinkle that with some, like we said, a little gem that he's got, a little 2 million or a little 10 million or a 5 million, that sort of player that you can think, is he going to come in? You don't expect much because it's a smaller signing, but he comes in and his absolute class. He's almost got it already. Low risk, high reward sort of signings. Do you know what I mean? One of them gems, a couple of them, like I said, we need in the summer, and sprinkle that with 4 first teamers. We need 4 first teamers. We need another winger. We need another striker, and we need another midfielder as an absolute minimum, just as an absolute minimum. And then, we, of course, we'll need more than one winger. We need a left and a right, in my opinion. We need another 10, in my opinion. Central defensive midfielders, Jorginho and Partey going. You've got the left back issue. You're going to see Kieran Tierney leaving on a free. Kivior's probably going to be sold. Zinchenko, you hope's finally going to be out the door if anyone wants to pay his 150k wages. So there are positions to do. There are gems to find as well. Like I've mentioned on this show before, I think Tarek Mitchell for Crystal Palace is available on a free at that left back. I'd be getting him in straight away to just maybe sort of settle and cement that position. It's a free signing. He's got a lot to do, isn't he? But as you quite rightly say, mate, and as we all quite rightly say, people with our mentality, I'm much more comfortable this summer now going in there with him in the reins. And before I move on to the press conference, because I'll do that next, we was having a conversation offline about Berta and obviously his announcement. And obviously, I know you'd wanted to say it as well. It's quite interesting, isn't it, in that Berta announcement, that Mikel Arteta's name wasn't mentioned once.
It's brilliant. It's amazing. Yeah. And it is. It's damning, and it's, if you got someone, I don't know, a criminal psychologist or someone to look into it, they go like, this is this. I mean, because those little press releases, they're always the same template. They're always Berta's looking forward to working with Mikel, and there's always that sort of, they can't wait to, they've had discussions already and they're on the same page. The fact that his name is not mentioned, not once, and he's like not being in the picture, you go, fair enough, he maybe wasn't around, but not being mentioned, not at all. And there's a lot of this sort of to get back to winning ways and these sort of things that are in it, No, that gave me a bit of that. That was where the ray of hope came from, because even Berta coming in, I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Because my biggest fear was, he could get in, Yamal, and Arteta would put the man out the left or something, or he'd find a way to grind him down. That was my thing. But because we were saying before, would you take like a quiet summer and get rid of Arteta and get a manager in just to play with give these players a go for a year? And we all were in agreement that we'd take a new manager over a big summer and work from there. But we also know that like he's never going to walk, not only because of the money, because he's too arrogant. People, narcissists like that would never admit defeat. They'd never admit they were wrong. He's going on about his transfer team now and the work that they do, and that, to me, he's trying to spin it like a positive, but he's also throwing them under the bus because our transfers have been so fucking terrible. You know what I mean? So it's the usual nonsense from him of taking a step back from everything that's wrong and taking credit for everything that's right. The only problem is these days is that the stuff that's going right is getting thinner and thinner. There's nothing going right, and he opened that press conference with we're in for 2 trophies. No, we're not. No, we're not. And we haven't been in for that league all season. We haven't been top for a day, not one day. That is not a title challenge. That's just being at the party while someone else has a good time. That's sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
Well, everybody else has a good time. That is not a title challenge in any way, shape, or form. When we started losing to Brightons and Bournemouths and all these teams, the title challenge was gone very early on in this season, if it was ever there, And you get these people saying that, oh, you finish ahead of City, or you've won the league. The arrogance to think that everybody else is out of it. No, not many people saw Liverpool winning it, but if you were to break this season down, and this is nothing against Liverpool, they're going to win the league, and I'd give anything to win the league. It's my favorite thing to win. I adore it, right? But it's been the worst Premier League season I've ever seen in terms of quality.
For a while,
it's been absolutely awful. All the top teams have fallen off, and people say, well, that's great, it's romantic because the Forest and the Bournemouth and stuff. It would be if one of them was challenging like Leicester did. Then it would be romantic, but they're just hanging around 4th and 5th, and more power to them. I think it's great. But this season has been absolutely awful. It hasn't been a challenge in any way. And so the top owners can take that and leave. And if they're so fond of their stats and their GAs and all this, and that's how they rate football, they don't seem to watch a match. It's just these stats I found, if they want a stat, we're 8th in shots on target in the league. A team that's meant to be challenging is 8th place in shots on target. And I think we're 5th on general shots, right? Which the general shots, just having a shot bothers me the most, because Arteta be moaning about the injuries to our forward players. We don't have a forward. Well, then you should be shooting from range all the time. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be trying to work it into the box
and getting them on target.
Yeah, and get them on target. But I mean,
crying out loud,
to be 8th,
what does that tell you though?
On target,
to be 8th and 5th, what does it tell you? We need attackers and we need good ones.
It's
it
awful.
Just tells you that alone, isn't it?
Yeah. It's terrible.
It's not rocket science, is it, man? It's frustrating, and look, the stats are so big in the game now. They're looking at. They can't not. Let me take it from this angle. They can't not be looking at stats like that and going, well, maybe it's just an off season because last season still weren't good enough. They have to be looking at that and know that they need reinforcements. And again, just back to the Burt thing very briefly before I come to the chat. This is where he must come in and just notice this, because with Mikel Arteta, it will just carry on as is. Berta will come in and notice this. He will be, say, looking at that stat and just going, all right, yeah, well, we're 8th for shots on target and then 5th or whatever, but the metrics for shots done. He must be sitting there thinking, why have these not got a striker? It's so clear as day. I mean, you don't even need stats. You can watch one Arsenal game. You can just look at the starting lineup. Just look at the starting lineup at Fulham game, and then you'll see that we need attacking reinforcements. I mean, it's just plain to see. You don't even have to watch them kick a ball. But now, boys, everyone, you don't, do you? But yeah, big up everyone in the chat FC always as well, man. Joseph's here as well. Big up to you, Geezer. Nick as well, top man. Cheers for stopping by. Godfrey, big up, brother, and View on Sports. I will read that comment out, Joe, towards the end, mate. I have starred it. You've got BX Gunner. How you doing, my friend? Big up to you, mate. And a bit of Macy here. How you doing, Macy? It's always a pleasure for you to be in the building. We got Hendo as well. How are you doing, my friend? Good morning to you as well, mate. And what you're saying as well, yeah, hopefully Fulham will be on a downer after losing to Palace in the FA Cup. The thing is with that, though, I will say, and though things are like can always work the other way round, can't they? You know, you're right. You hope they're going to be in a bit of a downer, or they might have a bit of a bite back after him and be a little
Mm.
bit pissed off. And of course, my friend, I certainly do hope it's not the latter. And of course, I hope you're right, mate. Yeah, and of course, we have to hope that Arsenal players' minds are not too focused on the Real Madrid game next week. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, we will be coming in. We're talking about a bit of Fulham, but first I want to go to the press conference. And I always go on the BBC website for it because they summarise it rather than it skipping all around in different segments. So we'll sort of run through what Mikel Arteta's been saying about everything this morning. And as usual, it's an absolute load of bollocks. But we'll
No.
get it up anyway. And this is the worrying thing for me. Look at this headline straight off the bat, everyone. Straight off the bat, this is the first thing. Saka ready to go. Arteta. Wow, okay. Bukayo Saka is ready to go, announces Mikel Arteta. And we'll get more into this right now. So here he is, look, working with his scar in the gym. And
Don't
now
see him on the
Saka could
grass.
start. Yeah, that's exactly right. And he actually says that. Yeah. So we've got Arsenal manager Arteta speaking ahead of the Premier League game against Fulham tomorrow. Bukayo Saka is ready to go. Yeah. All the careful things are already done. Look at this. All the careful things are already done, are they? Okay, what's that like? Getting him into a high intense match already. Well, he ain't done that already. He hasn't kicked a ball yet in a competitive game. So how are all the careful things already done? Yeah, he's had surgery and all of that, but like all the careful things been done. Why are you playing him? Why are you rushing back then? That's not being very careful. How is that being careful?
Oh,
Now it's
that's...
about putting him in the grass at the right moment. Oh, what so against Fulham, yeah? But he's pushing, look. But he's pushing because he really wants to. Of course, he really wants to play. He's a footballer. He's 23 years old. Of course, he wants to play.
He's
You
passing the
can't
book
be
on to Saka. He's passing the book on
exact,
to Saka. If he gets injured, he forced his way back in. What a coward, man. What an absolute
exactly.
coward. He's playing on the passion of a 23, 24-year-old.
Yeah,
Unbelievable, man.
exactly. I'm so glad you said that because that was going to be what I was going to mention about exactly the same thing. Look at that, how he's pushed the buck straight on him.
What a
He really
coward.
wants to, though, because that's what's going to happen, everyone. If he breaks down, that's exactly what everyone's going to say. That's going to be the narrative. Oh, yeah, well, he was so eager to play. Yeah, of course, he's a young lad and he wants to play. Of course, he does. Oh, but you're
That,
professionals. You're supposed to be a man manager, Mikel Arteta. You're supposed to have a duty
unbelievable.
of care. You haven't got, and with the greatest respect again, I will say, you haven't got NHS doctors. You've got the best in business at Arsenal
Mm.
Football Club. But now are you pushing it all onto Bukayo Saka? It's just an absolute disgrace. And this is even worse. Look at this, everyone. We have respected the timeline. How have you respected the timeline then? It's 3 months and he's had a grade 3 tear and you're already getting him to play against Fulham or putting him in the line. How? Just if someone can tell me how the timeline has been respected. I'm treble eager to know if anyone can post in the chat, put it in there, and I'll put my hands up and go, yeah, do you know what? Maybe I'm a bit wrong about this Mikel Arteta geezer, but from what he's saying at the minute, says pretty much everything that I was dreading him to say. He doesn't respect the timeline because he's rushing him back. He's blaming it on Saka already because he really wants to play, and all the careful things have already been done. They
But
haven't. I'm
the
sorry.
timeline, Aaron, I mean, how long was it between Havertz's injury and Saka's? It was only a few weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe a month?
it weren't long. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure
like,
it wasn't a
where,
long. Yeah,
but straight away they said Havertz will be out until the start of next season. Straight away they released the press
yeah,
release, and now this is the timeline. Why is his timeline different?
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Do you know what they're doing as well? Is they're just getting everyone because obviously the Madrid game is coming up soon. They're just trying to get all positive news out there, I think, aren't they? And they're going to use
Yeah,
Saka as that scapegoat, and they're
yeah.
using him exactly sort of how they released the Berta thing straight after the weekend
The
of
cup
FA Cup football
semi-finals.
that we weren't in.
Yeah.
Yeah, to just try and give everyone a little boost. That's what they're doing with this Saka, and they're using him and flogging the kid. And
Right,
it's
but as
worrying,
well, sorry,
man.
Aaron, to cut across you, just
Mate,
because on that point, it just came to me there that they're put, like you said, they're using him as a scapegoat and they're putting all the pressure on him. But imagine he's now thinking, "Oh God, I have to get back for that game." If he feels a little niggle, he mightn't say anything. You know what I mean? He might keep it to himself because he'll be thinking, "Oh God, I have to get back for this game."
yeah.
And he's literally just putting all the pressure off himself onto Saka. It's absolutely horrendous. It's horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. Yeah. Look, it's absolute madness. And this is no surprise to anyone. This is the worrying thing. It's no surprise to anyone. But just that last bit I've highlighted there I can't move my tiny little mind past the very fact that this manager has came out with the absolute audacity and said, we have, not we have to respect, we have. We've already
Mm,
done it. We have to respect, we have respected the timeline and we have done everything. He is ready to go. I'm telling you, we'll see him against Fulham. Like this
yeah,
is it now. Look at everything that he's
guarantee.
confirming there. He is ready to go. He starts it off by saying Bukayo Saka is ready to go. We've
Yeah,
respected the timeline. We've done everything. You know, all the careful things are already done. He's saying he is ready to go. I tell you what, he is ready for. He's ready for a setback. Unfortunately, people might not want to hear it. And listen, it's not what we all want whatsoever. But I mean, this football club, they are asking for Bukayo Saka to be out. And if he has another reoccurring injury of that hamstring, boy, boy, I
that
mean,
could be the end.
you're talking, yeah, you're talking career over, or you know, you're talking about a player that will never, ever, ever hit the heights that we could have. Because let's get it right with Bukayo Saka before we just go back up as well. Let's get it right with him. He's got a ceiling to be one of the best. He's already one of the best in his position now. But you know, the way he's going, the trajectory that he was on, he's got the trajectory of being one of the best players in the game. Not elite, you know, Messi sort of levels, but one of the best current players in the game. If he has another setback on this injury, if he does this again,
Yeah,
if he does that one more time, we're talking about a player that will never quite reach the heights that was expected of him.
it'd be
Never.
Michael Owen all over again.
Exactly right, my friend. Exactly right. The Arsenal manager's saying again, we also obviously we'll keep on the Saka thing. Bukayo Saka is a massive weapon. Here we go, you know, the massive
So are
weapon in
you,
that.
Mikel.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? A massive so and so, yeah. It's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. We'll keep it clean. I'll try my best. Yeah, he's a massive weapon that we have. Of course, to be fair, is your only weapon as well. Because you haven't signed any attackers or any forwards in 5.5 years. So he's our only weapon and he's on the bench, injured. We know the impact he has in the team because he's the only one that has an impact in the team,
Yeah,
and how important his role and contribution is to our success. Why are you flogging him then? You've directly caused his injury, Mikel Arteta. No one else. This isn't a fluke injury. You know, this isn't one of them, you know, like a Ryan Shawcross and Aaron Ramsey, where you just think you bastard. But, you know, an Eduardo, you know, this isn't one of them horror challenges and then you're out because of a player's had a rash challenge or whatever. This is being overplayed.
hmm,
This is being badly, horrendously, poorly managed. Nothing else, everyone. There's nothing else. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. Bukayo Saka is sat on his arse like that against Crystal Palace because he was flogged for 4.5 years, because he was coming on 3-0 up against Preston with 30 minutes to go. 60 minutes gone, along with Thomas Partey, who broke down the season before. The guy don't know what he's doing in terms of management. Why was he still on for 4 minutes against Chelsea's and the Lonzes and the PSVs? You know, obviously last year, the year before in the Champions League. Why is he on the field? Why is he playing every single game? Why does he need to be on the field 4-0 up, 5-0 up, 6-0 up? Why? I don't understand it, boys. FC Vigilante, big up as well. Big up Static as well, my friend. And he's right. 12 likes and subscribe. Come on, man. We can get that up. I know we're not used to streaming at this time in the morning, so it's all new, but get those likes up and subscribe. And big up as well, Stack, for being here. Vigilante as well. Big up to you, brother. Mikel's press conference here. Or is he translating to crap English? Listen, man, he's an absolute helmet and he's a geezer. But let's carry on with this. Look, so yeah, he's back in the team and our massive weapon, and he's got his contribution to our success is massive. It's great to have him back again. Listen, this has to be done right. Let's get it right, Shane. Chat. If he's 100% ready to go by whatever miracle that they've been feeding him at the Emirates, then that's fine. We all pray that he doesn't get an injury. But listen, when he might be able to get through a nice, comfortable home game against Fulham, which we don't actually tend to do too great against,
yeah.
by the way. But do you know who we play on the weekend, Shane, boys?
Every,
We've got Everton away. Do you think they're going to give a toss about Bukayo Saka's hamstring? Do you reckon they care? That's going to be a
not a
battle.
hope.
He's going to get
Braithwaite
absolutely
will
pounded.
crash into him early in the game. That's
Exactly.
and he's well within his rights to do it. That's
Exactly.
top level sport.
Like,
And
defenders have
this is
been
the
doing
thing
that for
because
years,
we
mate.
yeah, but we were texting before we came on about the press conference, and I don't know if it's going to cover it now, but hopefully it does, with Arteta's reasoning, which was, oh yeah, he was only out for 3 months, and but he played 48 months before that, so that's only a small percentage. In what world does that make? That makes no. If anything, you should be embarrassed that you're saying he played, because he played for 48 months non-stop, mate, and that's all because of him. That's all because of Arteta.
Yeah.
Oh, he played for 48 months, but he's only been out for 3 months, so that's only a small percentage. Unbelievable. I mean, if that's the logic that he's using, and that's the problem. And we swing back to all these Ornsteins and these Charlie Watts and all these brown noses. They need to get some proper journalists in those press conferences who will ask him challenging questions, because he gets asked the most pandering questions that I've ever heard. It's like they're all top gooners talking to him, and they're just starry-eyed, and they're going, well, we can't push this matter and we can't push that matter. And funnily enough, when someone finally does push the matter and asks him about strikers, he storms off like a little woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what you're dealing with. So that is literally the sign of someone who's never been held accountable. When someone doesn't get held accountable, when a spoiled child doesn't get held accountable, and the first time they do, they get told no, they throw a tantrum and they storm off. And he was in a press conference, or sorry, a post-game interview. He gets asked about a legitimate question: why did you let this happen? Because you did let this happen. They didn't even say it that aggressively. They didn't even say it to him that aggressively. They just asked a question that every Arsenal fan wants answered. If you could see this, if you couldn't see this coming, how could you not see it coming? Because every single one of us saw it coming. Every single pundit saw it coming. Henri saw it coming. They all saw it coming. And when they say it, they get called traitors, and they get ripped apart, and they get called negative and aggressive and all this stuff. I'll tell you what's aggressive. It's flogging a kid into the ground for 4 years and then talking about it like he should be complimented. Oh, he played 75 games in a row. Why are you gloating about that? You should be embarrassed that you played this kid. Oh, he wants to come back. Oh, I'd be worried if he doesn't. I'd be worried if Saka didn't want to come back. You know what I mean? He's the vice captain. He's our star boy. He's going to want to come back, and like he's the type of guy that will hide. He'll hide a niggle now because he'll be afraid of missing out on the game. And Arteta has literally just, like a total coward, he shifted all of the pressure onto him now. He's come out in one press conference and he's gone, yeah, he's great. Now we'll sort of depend on him, you know, and it's just an absolutely horrendous thing to do, and it's so typical of the man. That's the thing. When it stops shocking you, you know, that's the thing. And he I don't know, I don't get him, and I'm like you. I really fear for Saka coming back. I'm going to be at that Fulham game, and I'm going to be wincing every time, because I know he's going to bring him on. He's going to bring him on, and he's going to rush him back, for the sheer reason that when he plays him in the Champions League, if something happens, he goes, oh, but he was back last week. It's not like I rushed him back to the Champions League. He played the league.
Do you know what, as well? There's also another thing as well. It's not just about the physical sort of side of him, and the other muscles that he could also have setbacks on. He's not a setback. Isn't just having a recurrence of the same injury, of course. How often do you sort of see ACLs being accompanied by a cheeky groin strain or something like that, because other muscles aren't quite at the level, because they've been relaxed, or the other muscle's been overworked to obviously overcompensate for the injury. We see different injuries in setbacks all the time, and little niggles everywhere. And then when you get them niggles, sometimes look at Reece James, you just can't shake them niggles off. You never, ever, ever manage to get. How often as well do you sort of see a player that starts becoming littered with a bit of injuries, shake it off? Once people start getting constant little niggles, they always seem to have them, don't they? They never seem to, if you go for 2-3 years, with having little 3 weekers here and a month there and this, that, there, they seem to do that for the rest of their career. They never really shake it off. And that's also another dangerous thing. But let's just also go with a Saka about this side, the old Robbie I'll believe the mental side of it. Because if you're that young kid, Bukayo Saka, and you do get taken out, it's going to be in your head straight away, isn't it? By that, I mean, let's just say one of their defenders does clatter him. Minute one, Fulham, whether it be the Everton game, whether it be, Rudiger, who will absolutely clatter him minute one, by the way, against Real Madrid. What's his mental state going to be then? Because one, if he gets taken out and maybe not even feels a twinge or a niggle, but he just goes, oh, I don't know whether I felt something there, he's naturally in his mind going to be thinking, yeah, I don't really want to be doing that again. Or let's just say he does get taken out. He's probably thinking, oh, well, he might give me a setback or a recurrence of my injury here. Maybe I won't go near him. All of a sudden, then you've got a player that's afraid to do his job because you don't want to get injured. And why does that happen? when you are being rushed back. Why are you being rushed back? Means that you are not ready. It's not difficult. And I just sort of fear that, let's just say he doesn't. Let's just say, in a hypothetical scenario, so that he doesn't get injured or any setbacks. What about up top here, though? What about up top? Is he going to be mentally able to sort of just go back in full flow? Because what's the point in having a Bukayo Saka in there that's too afraid to challenge, go into a 50-50 challenge, or that's too afraid to even go in a 60-40 challenge in his favour, or, don't want to beat a man in case, the challenge is sort of late and his hamstring gets hit. What's the point in a Bukayo Saka that might be mentally a little bit not ready there being played, even if he's physically 100%? There's so many factors about this injury because it's a bad injury, especially at that age, and this is first one as well. It's not, like you get like the Jack Wilsheres and the Ramseys and the Eduardos and that we've had and the Diabys, that they've had bad injuries before. And then, they sort of half know what to expect. They know the process, of going through these injuries. So they're a bit more equipped. He's not. And, I sort of do fear a little bit that, it's mentally he's not sort of ready as well as physically. We're just going to stay at the chat as well. 15 in the building. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Shane's title. Shane is in the title, his channel, so make sure you go and do that. Big up to everyone. Big up Macy as well, man. Yeah, Hendon. Yeah, I understand. Big up to Hendon as well. Get big out some big points. Yeah, and Vigilante. Big up to you as well. You're saying as well that Saka's injury is a 9-month recovery, full match fitness. Yeah, but apparently they can do it. They can do it in free, and that's the worrying thing, my friend. It's a little bit worrying. Dazza, big up to you, my brother. You're always good to see you in the chat. And here's one of the OGs, man. It's always a pleasure to see you, Vic. Big up to you, brother. I personally finding it hard to get excited about Berta, as over the years, Kroenkers have shown they're not serious. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, look, listen, man. I think maybe you might be a little bit wrong in this, and obviously respectfully, because I think you want to be wrong. Because if you're wrong, technically, then that means that he's doing well. I've got a little bit more sort of positivity about Berta, and let's just not forget as well. One of the good things about signing Berta is that we didn't sign Mertesacker or Rosicky. Let's just not sort of forget that. Do you know what I mean? This geezer has got a CV, and Arsenal have also got a history of hiring unproven freshers, as I call them, the University of Arsenal. So yeah, I think there are some stuff to be a little bit sort of more positive about, my friend. There's a couple of people sending messages to each other in the chat. Big up as well. I love all the conversations and that inside. Vigilante saying everyone be up with the game. Yeah, of course they will. Yeah, last time playing Arsenal at Goodison. Of course they will, man. And big up as well, Normski, man. Smash the likes up. Yeah, he's absolutely right, my friend. Hope you are well too, my friend. Let's just carry on with this press conference now. So obviously we've read this a little bit. Is a massive weapon. Now we're saying about Calafiori. Let's skim over this because we sort of knew about it anyway. Calafiori unfortunately picked up a knee injury again with the national team. Of course he did. This is another one of them that keeps getting injuries. Them little niggles. He can't seem to shake him off because I don't know if everyone knows in the chat, but he I think it was an ACL or a bad injury that he got for Basel. A 9-month
for nearly a year
out for the season. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, and guess what happens? He always keeps picking up niggling injuries. Almost like I just said that about Saka.
I love as well, though, Aaron, that he says he got injured with the international team again. Like he's saying that they're the fault of all the injuries. Again,
yeah.
Come on,
I
man.
didn't pick up on that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you are right, Shane. Yeah. So look, yeah, he's saying hopefully it's going to be a matter. It's going to be a matter of worse, whatever that means. But we have to see how the injury evolves. Uran Timber has been ill for long, but he's feeling much better in the last few days, so he's available. That's sort of like good. To be fair, the Calafiori one's always going to be. I think they put a 2 or 3 weeker, and I don't want to wish injury on players, of course not. But I think against Real Madrid, I'm sort of kind of glad that he might not be ready to play. To be fair, because Rodrigo and Mbappe, if they wanted to start attacking down our left-hand side, I think we'd get absolutely ripped to shreds. But it's good, that Urian Timber seems like he might be coming back and a bit more fit. We need him 100% back, Urian Timber. But here we go, man. Obviously now we're sort of moving on to the Berta thing, people. Because this is another quite interesting thing and what he had to say. Because this is the first time he spoke about it. Of course, Mikel Arteta. This is the first time he spoke about it since the appointment. So Arsenal manager, here we go. Let's scroll back down. Yeah, Arsenal manager speaking ahead of the Premier League game against Fulham on the appointment of Andrea Berta. It's a big addition to the club. A team that already has a lot of great people who have been doing such a great job. Haven't won anything, though. And now this starts where it gets like Mikel Arteta zest fest. It's about building that chemistry. So
Oh,
we're all very excited to have him. Yeah, I bet you are, mate. I bet you are. Let's get it
you're
right. You
bulling.
didn't want him, mate. Yeah, you didn't want
Mm.
him. He's a very honest and straightforward person. Wow. What, all
Opposite
well
to
and
you,
good.
then,
All well
Mikel,
and
huh?
good. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He has a very clear vision of what he wants to do. And I bet it ain't the same as what you want to do, is it, Mikel?
Opposite to you again, mate. Yeah.
Exactly right. Oh, yeah, he was so willing to join us, which is positive. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, if someone is willing to join you, I mean, it's not a bad thing, is it, Mikel? This is just him absolutely talking bollocks again in his press
It's a
conferences.
prerequisite,
Just,
man. That's
it's
just the
just,
bare minimum that they actually want
um,
to come.
Shane. What we doing here? This manager, like, he just talks some absolute beep, doesn't he,
Yeah.
mate? What are we doing here? He had many other possibilities, but he's chosen to come to us, which is positive. Yeah. Now it's about giving him the support, which I bet you are begrudgingly going to give
Mm.
him, Mikel. He has done well for many, many years at the highest level. Unlike you, Mikel Arteta.
Yep.
Unlike you, my friend. And we continue. Oh, is that sort of the last little bit? Oh, yeah, I'm quite surprised. I thought there was another little bit up here. Let's have a little scroll over. Thought there was another little bit about Berta, but okay, it doesn't look like there is. We'll just stick with the Berta bit for the time being. Let's just come back down to it. You can sort of tell that this geezer doesn't want Berta at the football club,
Yeah.
because he's a winner, and he is
Yeah.
a winner. He's got a proven CV. He can't bully him because, as we know, people, Berta has worked with Diego Simeone for numerous amounts of years. Trust me, he ain't going to be worried about little Mikel Arteta. Let's get that right. And Mikel Arteta bullied Edu. He's not going to be able to do that with this guy, is he? I'm
Mhm.
hoping that this is going to be, that little flip in terms of the power struggle at Arsenal Football Club. And I wanted to ask you, coming into that point, do you think now that there is going to be a bit of a power struggle at the top for transfers, etc., Shane?
I think it's unavoidable. I think it's unavoidable because we've gone through so many lists of Berta's transfers, Rodri for 20 million, and you know Jan Oblak for 4 million, and Jota and Cunha, and then of course the big names which are just as challenging as finding a diamond in the rough is getting one of these, the best striker in the world at the time,
Yeah.
Falcao. Everybody was after him, and he got him ahead of Real Madrid and all these teams. And as he's just there, the legend Normski, I was just about to use this cheese wire line actually, because the legend Normski does it. Cheese wire.
He
We
loves
do.
it,
We
doesn't he?
need we
That
need
Norm.
Berta to come in and totally godfather him. Look at the past transfers, and give it a. They give you 750 million and you buy Havertz. This disappoints me. We need him to come in and yeah.
Love it.
But there will be a clash. And another thing that the legend that is Normski pointed out, I was listening to his video he put up today. I was listening to it in the car, and he was saying that Simeone released a press release about working with Berta, and he had in it, we didn't always see eye to eye. And as Normski pointed out, that's a fucking great thing. That proves that he did go. If he can stand up to Simeone, he can stand up to the fucking sorry, the language. He can stand up to the Spanish waiter. You know what I mean? That's not a problem. We just say, bring me more bread and get out. Because we're not. Berta will come in. He'll definitely have his own ideas. Thankfully, he'll have his own ideas. And
Yeah.
the things that I'm seeing now, the little bits, the reading between the lines bits, like that, like Normski said, that he said, Simeone said we didn't see eye to eye sometimes. Also, the Arteta not being mentioned in the press release, that's massive for me. It really is, because they would have used all those template, he's looking forward to working with Mikel and all that. So is he coming in just to push him out? I don't think so, because they won't pay the money to get rid of Arteta. They won't pay the money to fire him.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I think the best we can hope for, because we don't rate Arteta, is that Berta just forces him to, play the new signings, and he has a lot more say than someone in his position normally would, because it has to be that way. It has to be. But we've seen managers walk out before when someone's come in and started trying to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Especially someone as arrogant as Arteta. So, do I see them clashing? Yes, I do. And do I hope they clash? Double yes, I do. I definitely hope they clash, because they need to.
Yeah.
They need to clash. Someone needs to tell Arteta that he's an idiot. Someone needs to say, listen, pal, There's some things that you can't do. I mean, you're not Arsene Wenger, you're not Jose Mourinho, you're not Alex Ferguson. You can't identify talent. Like you were mentioning about getting in a few of those sort of 6 million, 10 million pound players that become great, right?
Yeah.
Can you remember the last one of them that we got? To me, it's
We
Martinelli.
thought it was, we thought it was going to. I was just going to say, we thought it was going to be Martinelli, didn't we? Guendouzi
But,
won
and
another
he
man
would have
won.
been if he had kept Emery. If Emery was his manager still, that chap would be a world beater, an absolute world beater. We all saw it. We forget how good he was, how electric he was. Remember that goal against Chelsea, you know, and he had something about him. But this lad's ground him down. So to me, the last time that we signed someone sort of say under 10 million, that looked like, oh God, this guy's a find, was Martinelli. The rest have come through Hale End. And any time Arteta has attempted to make a 15, 10 million pound signing, they've been Sambi Lokonga and they've been, you know,
Tavares,
Trossard. I want to say Trossard, but he was 30 something million. Well, he wasn't like he was cheap, you know. But it's a Sambi Lokonga, it's a Nuno Tavares, or it's, you know, the list goes on. Of Kivior, you know, these are the players he signs.
20 odd millions as well, mate. That's what I mean.
They're not even
players.
6, 10 millions. But but even if we said it right, anything under 25 million, which is still a lot of money, he's blown all of them, every single one of them. There's not one of them he's brought through that you can't move.
Man, that's, you know, that's a lot of money. That's absolutely a lot of money. If you're I just want to quickly, swiftly move this on to a comment here. My Varro. Firstly, you look big up. You don't have to agree with everything we're saying. You're going about it in you know, in a way that ain't rude. So big up. I don't ever mind being challenged on my opinion and all of that. You know what I mean? If you say something that proves me wrong, I'll openly admit live and I'll go, oh, you've got a real point. But listen, here's my sort of take on it, because you're saying, you know, Arteta can't clear him. And this is the point that I want to sort of go to, Varro, my friend. We have many doctors who do this. None of us are doctors to say, oh, Mikel Arteta is rushing him back. You're comes out to say this as well, and now all of us are running with it. Laugh out loud. I don't know abbreviations very well, so I honestly don't know what SMH means. I really do need to brush up on it, because there's so many. I look there and just go,
no idea.
Oh yeah, I've got no idea. But yeah, so the point I'm going to say, this is where I come from, and this is why I say rushing them back, because I've got 5.5 years under this regime of players being rushed back. Why when I was at the game and I was watching the Nottingham Forest game, when Timber clearly had basically done his ACL just before the half, and then he comes straight back out. The doctors cleared him to come straight back out. Mikel Arteta cleared him to come straight back out. What happens to Urian Timber on his debut, on his Premier League debut? Yeah, he's out for a year because he clearly wasn't fit. What about the same doctors that said that they didn't rush Declan Rice? That they diagnosed him fit to play, sorry. Oh, he had a broken toe and Mikel Arteta carried on playing him. That coincided with his worst form for the club, by the way, since he's signed. But you know, the doctors know what they're talking about. Well, clearly not, because they're allowing him to play with a broken toe. He's a footballer, not a basketballer. And the same can also be said about Thomas Partey. Why in the North London derby, when we were 2-0 down and he was clearly injured, and he was out for months after this injury, by the way, Varro, did Mikel Arteta push him back on the field? I'm just going by experience and what I've seen, my friend. What about Ben White this season? Again, who's probably had some of his worst form in an Arsenal shirt since he's been here. And Ben White's been pretty good, especially since we've moved him to right back. Why did the doctors clear him to play when he was playing for 2 months, clearly needing surgery, and Mikel Arteta allowed to play him? Why was Ben White playing when he clearly needed surgery, my friend?
I'm sorry, Aaron, to cut across you. Arteta admitted when he went for surgery that he knew he needed surgery at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So you can say all the doctors said this or that. Arteta was told this guy needs surgery, and he played him. The evidence is there. Look it up. Arteta said it in a press conference. And to say that, oh, League Owner said it, and I was discussing this with you long before League Owner said it. We were saying that he's going to rush him back. We were saying he was going to rush him back when he got injured. And we called the Madrid game. We said, boy, he's going to try and rush him back. But the Madrid game, everybody knew. Anybody who can see through Arteta knows that he doesn't think the same as other people. These are just pawns to him. He came out and said, Ben White, he's needed surgery for a long time. I think it was 3 months he said he's needed it. So he played him when he needed surgery. And even the Timber one, you don't play a player, especially a defender for me, that's come from the Dutch league to the pace of the Premier League. You don't start them on the first. You bring them on for a couple of games and then you start starting them. The pace is completely different. To me, it's very rare. Like you saw what happened when City did it with your man Kushnikov or whatever his name is. They played him against Chelsea and he had an absolute mare. You need to edge it. At least Guardiola's seeing it now. Okay, I need to bring him on when we're 2-0 up, or I need to start him in the cup and then take him off if you get booked. You know, these are all things that the doctor can say whatever they want, and we have to remember as well that all these doctors work for Arsenal. You know,
Yeah, and
Arteta's
they're
their
the best in
boss.
business as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, Arteta's their boss. So what's happening here, Varel, mate, is either the doctors are misdiagnosing these players or not catching them, and or Mikel Arteta isn't listening to the doctor's advice and playing them. Both aren't not happening. One of them at least is happening. There isn't a universe and exists where the doctors are giving Arteta sound advice and he's absolutely putting the players' fitness first. That isn't existing in these last 5.5 years, my friend. That's why I'm combating it and saying about rushing him back. Of course, I'm not a doctor, but what I have seen in the last 5.5 years is either poor misdiagnosing of football players and their injuries, or a manager that's not listening to the diagnosis and just playing them regardless. One of them has to exist in this universe, my friend, and that's why we're sort of saying it. Do you know what I mean? And you got these other examples across world football. You know, Neymar's a great example of it. But Vigilante saying Arteta rushed Odegaard for the Chelsea, and he went to play for Norway. Then the medical staff sent him straight home, and then he was out
yeah,
injured for 2 months. Do you know what I mean?
perfect.
There's so many examples. Why does Gabriel Jesus constantly have knee injury, ACL? Why does he keep getting them? It's the same injury. Why have all of our forwards at one stage have a hamstring injury? Like this, something's not right. So we're saying, yeah, we're not doctors, but either the doctors and or the manager aren't really doing their job properly from a medical perspective, Farrell. That's why we're saying it, man. No one's coming out here with a white coat and the old listening things, whatever they're called, and claiming to be MD, mate. Do you know what I mean? We're just going by what we've seen over the last 5 years. Do you know what I'm saying, mate? And sort of the last comment on it, being out for that long, it's just something that happens. Yeah, I get it, man. You fix something and something else goes. Yeah, that doesn't mean he was rushed back, but the likeliness of it happening is great
The
and Varel. This
chances,
is what
the
we're
chance of
saying. The
something
chances
happening goes
are
up.
going up. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, I get what angle you're coming from. You could be the most
100%.
careful person in the world and go and walk and get run over by a bus.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like you're right. Yeah, anything can happen when you play, but it's about reducing the likeliness of it happening. And over the
yeah,
last 5.5 years, Mikel Arteta and or the medical team have not done that, Varel. The proof is in the pudding. If you go and look at our injury lists and our history for the last 5 years, or even just listen back to what I just said twice and what me and Shane just said, the proof is there that we do it. And we're not talking waffle. These are facts, my friend. Vic saying, not sure if it's just me, but it feels like our preseason has started. Yeah, league is done, and once Madrid beat us, it's all over. Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. And Hendo sort of sent to Varro as well. And then no one's berating you, Val. I don't mind
no,
being
no,
challenged in the opinion. So don't get that. People are coming for you, but you've got a different opinion. You've also got to accept the other side of the board. Now, I appreciate that you don't agree with me, but you got to at least appreciate the angle that we're coming from, mate. And Hendo's saying, do you play top tier level professional sport? Yeah, by the way, I also tore my ACL on left knee, grade 3 hamstring is just as bad. Look at Owen Torres, etc. Never the same. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like one of the things. Just you're coming out and calling us and saying, "Are we doctors?" But are you a professional footballer with experience? Do you know what I mean? So is your opinion more valid as not a professional footballer than mine isn't as not a doctor? Do you know what I'm
no.
saying? Like these are just all opinions, but I'm coming back with facts or at least historical events that back up my opinion, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's sort of where I'm at with it, my brother. Reece James, yeah, he had the same. Yeah, he's not been the same. A big up to you, Alf, my friend. How are you doing? I hope you are still well. And yeah, as well, the list goes on just for this regime. Like, look at Tomiyasu. He's had 6 minutes. He gets rushed back all the time and has setbacks after setbacks. Why? Something's not quite right. You can't. Maybe that's just Tomiyasu. He's knackered, but you can't apply that for 10 other players in this team over 5 years. You can't just individually say that. There has to be something that's going wrong, either and or with the management or the doctors at this football club. At least one of them is not doing their job properly. And for me, it's just pure facts, man. Mason's down. The manager's going to make party run down his contract. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a bit frustrating there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, spot on FC Vigilante. Yeah, it was a good point they made earlier. Yeah, the medical team worked for Arteta. Yeah, absolutely, 100%, man. Calafiori isn't a loss. Yeah, we won't have to watch him fail at defending. Yeah, yeah. Listen, I do tend to sort of totally agree with that, man. I'm kind of glad that he's not going to be fit and Rodrigo's sort of going at him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, You don't have to be a top tier level experience of similar injuries, though, bro. And do you know what I mean? It's the same can be copy and pasted for the opinion, though, that I've just made about doctor. Do you know what I mean? None of us are
It's
doctors,
just
yeah, but
the
you're not
Ben White
professional
one,
football.
Aaron.
Yeah.
The Ben White
But
example is all that needs to be said.
Ben White. Yeah, the Ben
He
White.
admitted
That's it.
himself.
Yeah.
Arteta admitted himself the guy needed surgery, and he played him through it. When we were stacked with defenders, by the way, it wasn't like he had to play. But
Yeah.
look, I do, and I get everybody's point, and that's what we're here for. We're here for contrasting opinions, and so otherwise it'd be boring, But I take where he's coming from. I think some people think that there's just no way on earth that Arteta would ever rush someone back if they were injured, but he would. He's a narcissist at the end of the day, so the rules don't apply to him.
Yeah. No, listen, I know what you're saying as well. You're Arteta. I don't know whether someone in the chat you're referring to. Yeah, I'm not Arteta in or out. That's all cool. But you call it straight, bro. That's fine. Like, do you know what I mean? I totally appreciate that we won't agree on this. But I just don't jump on the bandwagon. I mean, I'm not jumping on any bandwagon, and that's the difference in how we're going about this, Varel, my friend. I'm not calling you Arteta in or out. I'm not calling you out. I think I'm being quite nice in the way I'm going about an open discussion. You know what I mean? I'm not accusing you of jumping on any bandwagon like you're accusing me of jumping on a bandwagon. Do you know what I mean? Also, you know what I mean? I'm not calling what you're saying as nonsense, just like you are to me. Do you know what I mean? And let's stop this one. Look, I mean, it's one of them things, man. I feel like I'm coming about this on a very, very, very fair angle and just having an open conversation with you about my side of the view. Do you know what I mean? And I think I'm going on a fair way about it. Our medical team, yeah, this is what I believe. I think our medical team and or Mikel Arteta's judgment of what the medical team are portraying with him, I think is a bit of a joke. Yeah, he's ruptured your Achilles, and they told me they'd been a year because it's their job to tell you the max time I was playing ball before that. So I don't mean he can't come back. No one's saying it's not, but what we're doing is we're just comparing him to other injuries and how the club and the medical team are managing this football club. And the Ben White thing again, we'll say it. He needed surgery, carried on playing him. Needed a longer surgery. Now he's out. We've lost him for pretty much the whole entire season. He ignored what needed to be done at the start of the season. Whose fault is that? The medical team's, Arteta's. Someone's not doing their job though, my friend. Both of them. It's impossible that both of them are doing their job in that scenario. It just is. Like how can it not be? Like it just is what it is. Yeah, is it possible? As usual, that Mikel lied about how serious his hammy was. This is exactly what I'm saying, Vic. Exactly what I'm saying, because he lies to us and talks waffle all the time. Or is it the fact that he had operated on it's very serious. 100%. Can you get less serious hammy injuries and that needed surgery, mate? I think what you're saying is spot on. Yeah, like I think he is a bit of a liar, and the thing is as well with Mikel Arteta, he does it. He does things to make himself look good at the detriment of Arsenal Football Club. He doesn't put Arsenal Football Club first. He puts Mikel Arteta first. And everything else, when it doesn't go right, is at the detriment of Arsenal Football Club. Let's get that absolutely right. He's a narcissist, this manager.
Yeah.
And he does everything for Mikel Arteta and nothing else. And when things don't go their way, who suffers? Arsenal fans. We suffer. But won't tolerate Mikel's lies and hopefully made clear. Yes, Sesko won't be signed. Mate, I absolutely hope so, mate. I really, really, really do there. It doesn't mean the flowers rush back. You sound smarter than that, bro. Don't just run with a talking point. I'm not, man. I'm just going about on what I think, and I've said this for months, man. You can go back and check my videos. I've said this on screen for a very, very, very long time, my friend. But yeah, look, listen, I'm all for a good conversation here, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm all for it, mate. Ralph, how you doing, my friend? I've said it for years. Arsenal medical team needs to be investigated. It doesn't even just. I'm just sticking to this regime under this manager. But you're absolutely right, mate. You can go back in the medical. Something just isn't right at Arsenal, and it has
Gary Lewin
a
left,
long
it's been a
time.
shambles.
Pardon?
Ever since Gary Lewin left, it's been a shambles.
Yeah. Because we had Gary and Colin at one stage, didn't we? Both of them. I mean, I know obviously, Gary was a bit further back, and then we had Colin. He went for England, didn't we? At one stage.
Well, the Lewin's full stop.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, the timber injury. Yes, that was something that happened in an instant, but he got sent out in the second half, mate. That might be a mistake from a doctor. Yeah, why did Phil Arteta over at the doctors and then send Timber out there? Like that's what I'm saying. This is an actual case in point, Farrell, my friend. One of them, guaranteed in your scenario, isn't doing their job. There isn't a universe in this situation that you've presented where both the doctors have said, yeah, you don't need to play him. And Mikel Arteta has listened to that. One of them's done something wrong 100% in the scenario that you present. And that's exactly why I don't really trust him, because that scenario that you're presenting there applies for many other players. And we've got it wrong, mate. Vic saying, Aaron, I agree with pretty much everything you guys are saying. That's why I'm less in the comments lately, man. Yeah, you guys are doing all the talking for me. Yeah, no, big up, man. And I always appreciate you jumping in. Do you know what I mean? And make sure that you do. I'm just going to go through some more press conference, and then I will continue back in with the chat. The chat's been lit again this morning. Don't forget, people, like and subscribe to the channel, man. It makes a massive bit of difference. And of course, like and subscribe to Shane. His link is in the title. It's clickable. So go over there and show the geezer some love. Yeah, right. We've got Arteta speaking a little bit about our game against Fulham, of course, because we've got one of them tomorrow. It's been equally quite nice to have a break from Arsenal Football Club, but when the internationals are on, it doesn't really feel so much of a break. It's a bit more of a pain. So it's funny that I'm going to say this, but I'm sort of looking forward to a bit of a league football being back. But I know probably come about 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow night, I'm going to be pissed off, annoyed, frustrated because Arsenal are back. You know, it's like one of them things. You want it back, and then when you get it back, you're pissed off again. I can just see that happening. But Mikel Arteta saying, we had a good time to reflect and reset and put ourselves in a good position to go in the most exciting part of the Premier League season. You're not in it, mate. Like, it's the most exciting part of the season for Liverpool fans. Maybe
and you had the time to reflect because we were out of both cups.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right, man. It's possible to win tomorrow. Well done. It is in the realms of possibility, Mikel. You're on fire today. I'll give you that, my old China. The preparation is to be better than Fulham and beat them. I mean, that tends to be, if you're a team that wants to win football games, I would suggest that good preparation would be to be better.
5.5 years of management,
actually does help
that's
beating them. And do you know what, Mikel? Also, guess what? Because Mikel seems like he's on the ball here today. Guess what? If you beat them, that means you win. And guess what? Also, Mikel, if you win, then you get 3 points. He's on fire, isn't he, our manager? If we do that, we will start to build momentum. That will help us in both competitions, even though it's probably only valid for one. Now, I'll say this. What I do actually think is a win against Fulham would be good, but not for the 3 points. The win against Fulham will be good purely on the notion of carrying a bit of momentum. I actually sort of tend to agree with him in that, but it's only for one competition. I do tend to sort of think, yeah, I would rather beat Fulham, have a nice, comfortable home win against Fulham, and then go away and battle and maybe win 1-0 at Goodison. But for the momentum of the Real Madrid tie, not for the Premier League title charge, because there isn't one. Jane already said at the beginning of the video, there is not a title charge. We haven't been top one day this season. There is no title challenge. There never was, and there never has been this season. Facts. It is what it is. Yeah, we'll skip over that a little bit because that's not his press conference. Fulham always a tough opposition. Yes, they are. They're always a tough opposition. They're well coached indeed, and they have been together for many years. At Arsenal as well. Let's get it right. I think they've still got about 4 or 5 players. If William's gone back there, I think they have a great organisation and individual quality. Yep, so we sold it to them. They have a very clear identity and idea of how to approach the game, unlike you. So we have to be very good to beat them. Yeah, we do, because we haven't beaten them in 4 times, 4 attempts rather. We had a lot of dominance in the last game against them at 1-1. No, we didn't. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen, and we went 1-0 down. It was only a corner that equalised it, and that was early in the second half. And guess what happened after that goal went in by Bill Saliba? It was an absolute stinky game for the rest of the 40 minutes. So I don't know what he's talking about. They managed to score the goal, sat back and reduced the spaces. Yeah, I mean, they've got a game plan, Mikel. It's also them going 1-0 down. It's now your game plan to go get 2 goals, and you didn't manage it, my friend. You managed 1 from a set piece. How have they been, by the way, lately? Oh, yeah, they've dried up now. How have your goals been scoring lately? Oh, yeah, they've dried up too, innit? Funny. Almost like you need a striker. Lewis Skelly, it's big week for Skelly as well. I'll skim over these little bits because they're less sort of important. But yeah, we're all happy for him. Of course, we're all happy for Miles Lewis Skelly. Do you know what I mean? And I thought there was more on Berto. Yeah, I thought there was that little bit more. So we sang about Berto as well. Yes, we were all involved. No. I bet. Yeah. What I like most is how much he wanted to come to the club. He has really attracted. He was really attracted. Sorry, what the fuck? Attracted in the opportunity, and he believes he can help us achieving what we want. Yeah, maybe I thought that was a misspelling there, but whatever. he was really attracted. There we go. Maybe it's my reading. Apologies for everyone. He is going to be someone who is going to impact the club. I hope so. He has got the personality and charisma, and will and the will to win. Yeah, absolutely. Which is going to be contagious. Always contagious, is it? Yeah. Hopefully, he spurns you to be a bit more better in press conferences, Mikel, because you're about as good as I am reading it. Absolutely shit. This is what we want to achieve, and have people who have already done that is really helpful. It is helpful, when people help you achieve things, Mikel. Well done. Well done. Good for him. And obviously we've got a couple of little bits more there. Yeah, yeah. What I'll do, this is all West Ham now. I'll close that page off and we will come straight back to the chat. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Here we go. Now you've got our wonderful faces on the screen. Yeah, man. So, to summarize the sort of Berta thing before we get into a bit more of our Fulham talk, and then we'll wrap up. He clearly doesn't want him there. I don't think he likes him there. I think with what he's saying is just so media written, so fabricated. So, yeah, he seems like a real swell chap, and we're all lucky to have him. Berta being there means that Arteta has less power. Let's get it absolutely right. And that man doesn't like the notion of less power. And I just think, and I hope that he comes in and really does sort of shake up that sort of squad. I hope that if Mikel's targets for the start of the season were Zubimendi, how's that going? Real Madrid knocked and he's gone. Salah, and Nico Williams, who was shit again on the weekend, and of course Benjamin Sesko. If there is 3 targets, Arteta's, I hope Benjamin Sesko, I hope Berta comes in and just goes,
yeah,
ripped. Yeah. Oh, it's very, very cute of you to have a little list. What we'll do is we've got a little magnet. We'll put that on the fridge. Mikel's little list, isn't it? I think you've said that to me before. Mikel's little list. We'll put it on the fridge.
Put it right here on the fridge, so everyone can
face,
see.
A little stamp in it. Give him a little gold star. Well done. You made a little list. He's done it with his little crayon. You know what I mean? He's gone. I want Benjamin Sesko. Yeah, done it with his left hand. Well done, Mikel. Yeah, you've used a primary colour and the crayon. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Oh, you've gone for yellow, Mikel. Well done. That list will go right at the top. What a good little boy. My star
I'll take
little
it
boy
under consideration.
but we'll take it from here, Mikel. Yeah, it's cute that you've put 3 names on the fridge, but yeah, we'll take it from here. You've got a hope in you that it's going to go like that, man.
Has to happen. If he comes in and because Arteta said it in the press conference that he's coming in and he's got his own. I think the journalist said, as he got his own ideas. Oh well, we already have ours, and we have identified this and that. So if he can come in and put his little twist on it, what do you mean? Like what's a twist when it's either he wants that player or he doesn't. So
yeah.
I think. The thing a lot of other fans now will be calling us banter club and that we're getting excited about Berta coming in. Oh, he's just a director of football or he's whatever, But it's so big in football now. When I was growing up, I think United might have been the first team to really do it in England, to have a director of football. And people are like, what are these lads doing? Like, what are they even there for? But it's so needed with us that I've never been excited about a sort of external appointment like that before. It's so needed at our club for someone to come in and say, like you said, look, mate, I'm here now, and you've had your go. Because if we get Williams, Sesko, and like you said, Zubimendi, which is gone, we're done for another few years. You know what I mean? Like that Williams lad is just another Martinelli. Sesko's just another Havertz. I mean, so we already get called out for not having a plan B when teams lock up. So why would we just sign carbon copies of the gimps we already have? You need something different. You need, look, Gyökeres, we can go back and forth with that all we want. That's a no-brainer. To any Arsenal fan, any football fan, that's a no-brainer. 42 goals in 42 games. Oh, it's a Farmers League. Oh, it's the Portuguese league. So what? You know what I mean? Many players have come from Falcao came from the Portuguese league. Many players have come from the Portuguese league. They say that about the Dutch league. Timber came from the Dutch league. These players have to start somewhere. But Gyökeres, sometimes these forwards as well that don't take off like a house on fire when they're kids end up being great ones. Like we were saying before, that Ian Wright didn't sign for Arsenal till he was 28. Like, you know what I mean? So some especially with a forward when it's all about, and Gyökeres is the type of forward who it's about his in-game intelligence and things like that, knowing when to make runs and knowing when to hold back. And like we see Arsenal team now when one of the players cuts down the byline and there's just no one to pull it back to, or Havertz runs to where there's 3 players, you know, that. I remember I was screaming at the telly the Arsenal game when Odegaard made that run where he actually ran away from the ball, and it was like, what are you doing, man? You know, so it's in game intelligence. He was asked about Odegaard in the press conference. Did you see that when the guy said to him, I think it was you know, what's Odegaard's strengths, and I said, oh, we could be here all day with that, right? And he said, the first thing is his level of consistency. Yeah, he's consistently shit this season. You know what I mean? So I'll give you that. He has been consistent, but he's been consistently awful. And I love Odegaard, and I put up for him when I say that. He said, oh, he got a hat-trick of assists for Norway. Yeah, but he's playing the ball through to Sorloth and Haaland. You know what I mean? So he'd be getting more assists. You see him now when he does have the ball outside the box, there's no one making runs. There's not one player making a run for him. So who's he meant to pass it to? He needs to do little intricate through balls. If he was at Madrid, or I know they let him go, but we can say that. But if he was at Barcelona, say, his numbers would be through the roof because he'd have runs all the time, you know. So it is hard for him, and I feel for him, and he should in no way be our captain. I think that was another horrendous decision to put that. He didn't need that pressure to be a captain. He's not a captain. There was other Tierney should have been our captain back then when he got the captaincy, but we know where Arteta stands on him. But you know, it is that thing of but we need, you know, Berta to take the transfers, and we need him to say this is what we're doing now, because you've had your go, you're 750 million down, and you know all you have to offer is like is Kai Havertz, you know. But look, we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm over for the match now. I'm flying out tomorrow morning to go over for the match, and I am just hoping that No Pressure FC show up, which they could, you know. But that's the only thing. If No Pressure FC show up, we could get a bleeding 5-0 romp. I just don't want to see Saka coming on because, you know, but you just don't know with Arsenal. But Everton, they're going to stuff us, I think. I can't see us beating Everton away. Moyes has them playing, which, but bringing in a new manager, what difference does that make? You know?
Yeah. Just to quickly couple before we move very, very quickly move on. I did find the Odegaard bit and what Odegaard brings to the team. I need a lot of time to do that. And then in the press conference, you had all the top gunners going. Did you hear it? The little giggles of him laughing.
Yeah.
That was so funny. Look, honestly, go back and watch it, people. Not even over exaggerating. They're just like the odd 2 or 3 just giggling like little schoolgirls. It's ridiculous. He's a captain. He's one of the most important players. His consistency levels are incredible. Yeah, incredibly shit. What James said. This player that defines our way of playing. Very worrying. That slow. Yeah. Unimaginative. Lethargic. Yeah. That's how I would put it. Yeah, there you go. And then why he's been captain for 2 years. Here's his answer, because I believe he's the right role model for the club and for the team. That's a poster boy. That's not captain.
Completely different.
Captain. Why has he been subbed off since he's been at Arsenal? He's been subbed off. I don't 100% know if I'd accounted for the loans or not. I'll have to go back because I didn't finish my little stat bits I was doing. But I think it's about 58 times. That number's staying with my head. I'm fairly sure it's least 58 times.
That has to be a record for a captain. Surely that has to be a record for a captain.
I tried going back because I wanted to use it against the amount of times Vieira and Adams in total together combined got subbed off. And I wanted to use it sort of against that sort of amount, but I couldn't find the stats and or got interrupted, something like that. But I'm fairly certain. Don't take it for 100% because it's not exact, but I'm fairly sure it's at least, I'm 95% sure it's at least 58 times.
Right. And with Adams and Vieira, Adams, the only times he would have been subbed off would have been near the end of his career, because I know that Wenger was his first game in Europe. He wasn't even on the bench. He was in the crowd for a UEFA Cup game, I think, and he took Adams off at half time. It was the first interaction Adams had with him, and he said, "Who was this prick taking me off at half time?" You know. He didn't. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it again. And Vieira would have only ever been subbed off if he was close to getting a red card, and even then he got so many red cards that Wenger just took a chance with him anyway. So I'd say that. And the thing is, so Adams would be age, and Vieira would be either to rest him, which would be very, very rare, or because he could be on for a red card. But to be Odegaard, what is he, 24, 25?
Yeah, he's there or thereabouts, isn't he?
He's at the peak of fitness anyway. He should not be getting subbed off 58 times.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. And just one again. I'm sorry to keep with the press conference, but I have to say this as well now because I mentioned about Bakayo's mindset, and there is something on the Bakayo's mindset. It's more the energy that he transmits. He loves that transmit, doesn't he? Like he's some sort of like beacon or something. Like that, he's missed the thing that he loves most in his life. Sometimes you just need a bit of tough love and a proper manager to put your arm around your shoulder saying, do you know what, Bukayo, you're 23 years old. This is the narrative I don't get from Arsenal fans when they're like, yeah, but, he's 23 years old and it's Real Madrid. He's going to want to play against it. If Bukayo Saka's as good as you lot say he is, which I think he is, he's 23 years old. He's still got 12 years left of elite level football. He's either going to play Real Madrid again or play for Real Madrid. Like, what are we doing here? Do you know what I mean? He's not 33 on the twilights. He's 23. He's got plenty of opportunities to play these games. Plenty left. He's a kid still. The fact that he is able to come in the most important part of the season, obviously, is a massive boost for him and the team. I totally get things like that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, look, and if you can hit the ground running, especially to get rustiness out of your head, you're going to be. You haven't played a competitive game yet at all. You haven't played for 3 months. We said this offline, Shane, but you've played for the last 48 months. So 3 in 48 is a very small percentage. What kind of math are you doing in the play, man? Like, what is actually going on, man? It's breaking my skull, man. Like,
now, we might not be doctors, as was pointed out, but there's no doctor in the world that would use the logic that you've been run into the ground for 48 months, so your recovery should be quicker. It should be longer.
Carol Vorderman ain't my mum, and Rachel Riley ain't my missus. But I don't have to be any mathematician or be a family of mathematicians to know that what he's talking is absolute fucking bollocks.
But look at it as well. Sorry, Aaron. Yeah. He didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question.
He's just skated around it with like ridiculous math. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? I haven't listened to this. Listen to this next bit, people. This is how badly. If you thought the 48 is a very small percentage, listen to this crap here. But I haven't done the housekeeping in duties for a week. This. Yeah, but I've done it for 10 years, so I know what to do. You know what to do with a housekeeper. How have we gone from rushing back Saka possibly, or if Saka's 100% fit, to Mikel Arteta's housekeeping duties?
Unbelievable.
Which, by the way, he pays someone to do.
Of course he does, because his missus is too busy writing a book. But like, what he's done there, it's like, again, he hasn't answered the question. They're talking about mentality as in like what we were saying. When a hard tackle comes in, he'll have to take that extra second. And it's like if you've been in a car crash, then for the next few months you're very nervous driving. That doesn't answer the question. He's answering it like, oh, don't worry, guys. He hasn't forgot how to play football. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's not what we mean. We mean like, is he going to be able to take a tackle and not going to get in his head? Oh, guys.
So Mikel Arteta's press conference, right, everyone? Yeah, it lasted about half an hour, and the only actual thing we managed to take from it is that he hasn't done his housekeeping for a week. That's the only constructive bit of information in this whole thing that we've all, as a chat, as a panel, me and Shane, and everyone that's watched it or read it back, we can at least take away that his house is a bit of a shithole this week, and he needs to clean it. Like, what? Yeah. What are we absolutely doing here, man? It's just absolutely madness. But let's get rid of that. We've got Fulham tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
And as we've sort of previously said, unfortunately, the league sort of ain't there, but it's a little bit of momentum. How do you sort of see the game going? Do you think? Do you think we'll see Saka obviously coming off the bench or starting?
I think we'll see.
Do you think that we're going to win? We've got a bit of a miserable record against Fulham. How do you sort of see the game going, mate?
I don't know. It is that thing of no pressure, FC. I wonder because if we were facing them now and we were 2 points off Liverpool, I'd say we're going to draw or lose. But I just don't know with, it's to me it's very hard to call, and I never. It's like if I do throw a bet on the football, I never bet on Arsenal because I bet with my heart instead of my head. So
yeah,
if someone put up a 4-1 draw, I could easily see that. I could easily see a 4-1 draw, but I could also see, just Arsenal taking their foot off the pedal and going for it, and maybe Arteta letting them loose because Bert is around, and I don't know, but I just, again, we've been burnt too many times. We've been so awful this season, and for the first half of last season, we have to remember we were awful as well.
Yeah.
People seem to forget how bad we were in the first half of last season. So Yeah, I don't know. I could see if I was to put I suppose I'm hoping for a few goals because I'm going over, and tickets are like gold dust unless we're doing shit, obviously, like we are now. So they get very much easier to get. But
Whereabouts you sat?
yeah, but that's what my heart says. We can go and take our foot off the pedal. But yeah, I think a stinky 1-0 draw maybe.
Whereabouts you sat? Did you say you got a
Oh, I
ticket or
haven't
you
even
just going
looked.
over to? Yeah,
I
oh
haven't
yeah,
even looked. I'll text it to you later. I
yeah,
haven't even
yeah,
looked.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, no, but interesting. Hopefully, it's a good game for you. And yeah, my sort of take on it, it's sort of one of sort of a similar things. I can see it. Either we'll actually turn up, like you said, no pressure FC. Do you know what I mean? And we'll actually pull our fingers out and have a good game. But
mm,
it's just that universe that, pardon me, also exists where we go there and it's a 1-1 or we're 1-0 up and then we can see the stinky goal through self-infliction, because we always seem to do that lately. They're always self-inflicted goals, aren't they? Or just one pinged ball straight over and then we're cut open straight away. If I was to be pushed for a score prediction, I think my heart says 2-1 Arsenal, but my head just can't move past a 1-1 draw, purely because it's difficult. And I get what you're saying as well. You can see that universe where we win 4-1 and we're absolutely unbelievable, but we just haven't seen that enough this season for me, and it's a little bit frustrating that we're like that. But as I said before, and I'll couple it again, man, um I think for tomorrow, yes, obviously you get 3 points for a win. Of course you do. Just in case Mikel Arteta didn't know that, you get the 3 points. I'd rather just the momentum carrying in for the Real Madrid game, because I think that's such an important game. There isn't anything left in the Premier League to do. Unfortunately, Liverpool are going to win it. It is what it is. Everyone, do you know what I mean? Like, we all know it. Like, even the toppity tops of Gooners, do you know what I mean? They surely must also sort of go, yeah, it's a bit of a stretch. Do you know what I mean? With the amount of games left, bearing in mind when the whole team was fit, we were still 9 points behind Liverpool, and that was 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Nothing's really changed, does it? Do you know what I mean? We've just gone a little bit more worse. Everyone acts like while we had a fully fit team that we were in the title race. We weren't. We were still 9 points behind. We have been for the whole season. We really just have been nowhere near it all season. Yeah, just get the win, get that motivation up. Do you know what I mean? Try and see if we can get a little bit of momentum going into the Everton game. And obviously, it'd be nice if we could get that sort of hard fought battling win at Goodison. Come away with a 1-0 or a 2-1. Hopefully, nothing like the Emirates fixture, where I
oh,
mean that was just, I mean,
that summed it
Jesus
up for me, that
Christ,
yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah,
summed up
that
Arteta
was
for me, that
painful.
game.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was absolutely painful, wasn't it, man? Absolutely, yeah, yeah. The AFC Vigilance and Arteta will be perfect at work for the government. Absolute crap, no answer to any question,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
just copy and paste for every single press
yeah.
conference he does, man. Big up Daniel, man. How you doing, brother? Big up, boys, man. Yeah, if he ruins Saka, I'll never forgive him. Exactly the same here, man. Already dislike the guy, but we'll change to hate. Yeah, it's all about his ego. Yeah, I mean that's a bit
Spot on.
damning. Yeah, but man, yeah, I'm kind of inclined to agree with you there, Daniel.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? And I think some of the boys in the chat do as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Hendo saying to you, man. Yeah, you should resign if Saka gets re-injured. It's not
yeah.
going to look great for him, is it? And this is the worrying thing, and back to the point that we was talking about earlier with the Saka thing. We don't want him to get a reoccurrence. We
Of
hope
course.
that the medical team have, assessed it right. We hope that Mikel Arteta isn't taking even any percentage of a risk with him. Why would we want to be proven right? Because it means Saka gets injured. I want to be wrong all day long. I don't want him to get a setback. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, I want him to
Mm,
come out and his form be excellent at the start, because that means it's good for Arsenal. Of course, I'd love him to be 100% fit for Real Madrid and have an absolute unbelievable game both legs. Of course, I do. Why on earth would any Arsenal fan not want that? But it's also a risky percentage that you're taking. He's not 95% ready. He's not going to be 100% ready for them games. He just isn't. Why? Because he hasn't even kicked a ball yet. The Real Madrid game is in 7, 8 days, everyone. Is it next Tuesday or Wednesday? It's next Tuesday, isn't it?
mm-hmm.
The 8th.
Yeah.
Like, it's 8 days away. And he ain't kicked a ball yet. And we're expecting him to play against one of the best teams in the world with the know-how. And that are going to bring out the dirty tactics like a Rudiger. He's going to get flattened. And you're expecting him to be 100% fit, and he ain't kicked a ball in competitive game, and he won't do possibly until tomorrow, which then will be 7 days. Like, it's a bit much in it. But listen, man, we will wrap it up there. Shane, what have you got coming up for the rest of the week, my friend?
Yeah, I'm on with Rashid for the pre-Everton game, the morning of the game. I have a couple of videos coming out to finish off my series of Was Football Better? And I'll do a post Fulham game because I'll be over at it and stuff like that. So I'll put that up.
Lovely.
And hoping to do a few more lives here and there. And I have obviously my shorts coming out all the time. I normally do a voiceover, trying to bit of humour to this on this day in Arsenal's history. But on this day in Arsenal's history was David Rocastle passing away. So I just put that up. I didn't put in any jokes or anything. I just put up a little montage to Rocky because he was such a hero. Fucking 24 years gone, I think, today, which is staggering. But and I just noticed here that I pulled up the tickets, so I'm in clock end, block 127. Everyone knows.
Oh, block 127. Oh yeah. I'm 106.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm with Rashid, and I've been I'm quite regular with videos and shorts and stuff like that, so there's always something going up. But so if you're having call-ins or anything during the week, I'm sure I'll knock into them as well.
Yeah. No, 100%. And yeah, that's what I wanted to do as well. And you reminded me nicely. I'd had this sort of ready set up. Yeah, big up to Rocky Rocastle, man. What an absolute man. And that's what I think as well for new Arsenal fans and maybe fans that just don't really pay too much attention to history, man. You've got to go back and look at this geezer. He was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Part of that.
No Rocky Rocastle, no Ian Wright. I mean,
yeah,
Wright was older, but Rocastle made it out of the estate and inspired him and told him to keep going. Don't give up. Wright was still 20 when he hadn't made it yet, and Rocky was in his ear saying, "Keep going, you've got it. You're going to make it." Yep. So, but even individually, what a player, man! But today he'd be 120 million easy.
Oh, 120 million all easy. Day long, yeah.
Box to box, 6, 8, all this nonsense that we hear now. He could do it all, man. He could do it all, and he did it all in 90 minutes every single game. Absolute legend of a player.
Do you know what was really frustrating for me was do you know when we bottled the 93% league and we had that beautiful black kit? When we get kits like that, I always honour them with a legend if I really like the kit. And I had on the back of the black kit, Rocky Rocastle 7 on the back. And if we was to have won the league, I was going to get it framed along with a few pictures of the lads around my season ticket sort of bit. And it was the last season you had the card for the season ticket until they'd done it all digital. So I was going to frame that, have like a little few words if we won the league, of course. And I was going to obviously have the Rocastle 7 shirt sort of put up there, man. It's a little bit gutting, obviously that couldn't happen because I'd have had it nicely framed and all of that. But nonetheless, man, he's on the back of my shirt for a reason because he's an absolute legend. And of course, like now he'd be a fantastic spokesperson for Arsenal. He'd tell it how it is. Hopefully he wouldn't go down the human rights sort of avenue of, being a little bit for the club. Do you know what I mean? I think Rocky Rocastle would be coming out and saying exactly how it is. And for people, like I said, they're a bit young who don't know Rocky Rocastle is, go on YouTube and Google Rocky Rocastle, David Rocastle, man. He is an absolute unbelievable player. I'm so glad you reminded me that because I had it up, man. And it's a real shame, the age that he died. And it's a real shame he sort of left Arsenal, really, wasn't it? I think he did go straight to Leeds, I think, didn't he?
He went to Leeds and then he had a spell at City as well,
City. Yeah.
And then over in Malaysia, I think he went to Malaysia then to finish off his career.
Yeah. No, it's madness, but and I just wanted to say sort of big up to Rocky Rocastle always, man. And of course. Yeah, Hendo's just saying as well, have a good trip over, Shane. Weather in London superb. Yeah, it's actually not that bad. Do you know what? I've got a little bit as well, just off topic. I've got this week off, and it's not a week off, man, because that year's finally came around, didn't it? The sun's coming out and that, and the missus was straight away saying, you need to sort the garden. Well, she won't say it in that much of an attitude, I suppose, but she's like, you need to sort the garden out. Because I'd laid some foundations. I built a barbecue sort of area, but I laid all the foundations down and I couldn't be bothered to do it last year. Now the sun's come back out. I've got all the slabs, so I'm going to have to be getting the old angle grinder out and cutting in, laying the barbecue area slabs out there. I've got to cut all the grass. And then at the back of it, I've got to build a trampoline. But first, I've got to kill all the weeds, and then I'm putting some bits down and putting all decorative stones down and all of that bollocks. I've got to do a bit of weeding out there. It's not a week off, man. It
No.
ain't a week off for me at all
Yeah.
whatsoever. So
It's
wish me
funny you
good
say
luck.
that. I've got the patio to do as well.
Ugh.
It's built now. I just have to the weeds have come through the brickwork. But yeah, I got the furniture the other day. I have to put that together. But I got an acre and a half here that I have to cut. So I have to
Oh,
go out on
wow.
the old. I have to go out on the old ride on now today and get it done.
Oh,
About 2
wow.
hours
Well,
on that
yeah.
thing chopping it. It's actually therapeutic sitting on it. You just chug around, man. It's not. You know what I mean? You're just sitting on it chugging around.
Have
I
a little
normally listen
cigar,
to a
just
few
chilling.
podcasts or something. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, well,
just
let's in it.
yeah.
A little bit of whiskey and a cigar, you know what I mean, on the old ride along. That's how the gangsters do it, isn't it? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, no, but listen, on that note, we'll close. And everyone, enjoy your Monday. I think maybe I'll be back later on. I need to speak to DJB. I might be back at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock later on. So stay tuned possibly for that, everyone. Have a great Monday. And if I don't see you later, I will see you at some stage in the week. Big up,
Cheers,
everyone.
guys.
And of course, Arteta out.